Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my favorite fall eyeshadow palettes. This kind of videos are very common in other countries, like my favorite, like abroad YouTubers do it all the time. And I just thought, let me pull up all of my eyeshadow palettes, like fall appropriate eyeshadow palettes. And these are the only eyeshadow palettes which I'll be gravitating towards this fall season. So might be for some of you, this kind of idea can be a little too far-fetched, like dedicating certain makeup products according to seasons. But I think this actually encourages you to, like switch up your makeup from time and time again and just like go through your vanity and pull up some other makeup products. Yeah, instead of like being in the same rut using the same particular products, I think this is actually really great. So we're gonna go from smaller palettes to all the way up to the like bigger palettes. And also I have only kept those palettes that are easily available here in India. So I have eyeshadow palettes ranging from 200 rupees to all the way up to 10,000. So yeah guys, without further ado, let's get started. So the first one I have is this e.l.f. bite size eyeshadow palette. So this is in the shade Pumpkin Pie. So this is what I have used on my eyes right now. This palette is just the perfect fall palette that you can buy. It's so nice. Again, the formulation of this palette is amazing. Like all mattes, metallics, everything performs so good. These are the four shades and look at that pigmentation, you guys. It is just outstanding. So this retails for rupees 400 and during sales you will always get them for much discounted prices, and I think it's an amazing palette. You can definitely check this one out. So next one we have is this SFR Colors eyeshadow palette, and this is in the shade Caramel Brown. Now this was supposed to be like a dupe of Huda Beauty. So this is how the color tones look like. Again, as you all can see, this is a very warm fall appropriate palette. So that's how the metallic shades in the palette look like. So as you all can see, they have a variety of shades from golden to orange to some, like bronzy shades, and also this deep purple, which I think will look very good for this fall season. So this is how the mattes look like. You cannot create those glamorous, like intense smoky looks with this palette, but I think you can definitely achieve some really good soft glam makeup looks. Now the quality of these eyeshadows are not that great, and this only costs 200 or 250 rupees, which, kind of makes sense. So yeah, it's not a horrible palette, but also it's not like the most intense, like pigmented eyeshadow palette. I would say it's a decent one. So moving on to the third eyeshadow palette we have is this Mars Fantasy 15 eyeshadow palette, and this is in palette number 1. So this is how the tones of the palette looks like. Again, you get so many different colors in here. You get like this warm reddish brown shade, like a plummish brown color. You get cool tone brown. You also get a nice bronzy shimmer. And for me, this is my most favorite like drugstore eyeshadow palette ever because I can create so many looks. I think you can use this palette all year round, but especially for fall season, performs so great. Like the metallics are so intense and creamy and buttery smooth. Look at that. It's super duper inexpensive and the quality is just top notch. So yeah, here are some of the mattes that I've swatched. As you all can see, again, the pigmentation is really good. So I have had this palette almost for a year now, and there are some shades like, for example, this one and this one, which has got a little dry. But I think, it still performs great and I can get some really good fall appropriate looks using this palette. So yeah, this is my absolute favorite. Okay guys, so another palette that I absolutely love from Mars, which I feel is very fall appropriate, is this one. It's just called as, Mars the palette. And again, this is in shade number 01. So this is not just an eyeshadow palette. It has also some blush shades, this contour and highlighter. So this is sort of like a face come eyeshadow palette. And again, during fall, if you want to go with some really nice like plums or like berry tone shades, I think this is again another perfect palette to use. So these are the three mattes and these are the metallics. Again, I think this is another great eyeshadow palette for this particular fall season. The shades in here are so pretty for the price. Okay guys, so now moving on to the bigger palettes. The first one I have is this Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam eyeshadow palette. Now this is my all-time favorite like neutral toned eyeshadow palette. The shades in here are very much fall appropriate. It's so beautiful and you can create some really stunning looks using this palette. Again, I need not say about Anastasia's quality, it's just amazing. The shades are so metallic. These are some of the shades that I've swatched from the palette. As you all can see, again, the pigmentation is top notch. I think this is worth every penny because I have used this palette so much. I actually go to this palette a lot. Amazing, another great palette for fall. Okay, the next one I have is this Huda Beauty's Naughty Nude eyeshadow palette. Another stunning, like fall appropriate eyeshadow palette that I own. You can create some really nice like berry tone eyeshadow looks using this palette. So when you say fall, mostly people think of oranges and browns, but this is actually a really nice twist because you get some really good like, warm tone like berry tone shades in here. which is absolutely stunning according to me. I think this palette has like a lot of potential to create some really great fall looks. And guys, if you want me to create like probably 3 looks, one palette, let me know in the comment section because I think it's going to be so useful. I mean, can you see that, you guys? Look at that intensity, that pigmentation. It is just top notch. These tones complement like every Indian brown girl so well, right from fair to medium to dusky. It just looks absolutely stunning. So yeah, I really love this palette for this fall. Okay guys, so next palette I have in here is this Morphe X Jaclyn Hill palette. As you all can see, mine is like super dirty. And actually, this is their older packaging. I think the newer, they have changed the packaging a little bit. You can easily tell by the looks of this palette that this is well loved. There was a time when I used to use this palette like left, right, and center. Like every single day, I used to just use this palette. So this is definitely a huge palette to actually get 35 shades in total. I think these, all these tones right over here are perfect to use during this fall season. And this palette is not just for fall. I think it's for all year round, for your weddings, for summers, spring, like, winters, to create some really glamorous looks because you pretty much have everything else in this palette. And I feel like if you have this one palette, you can definitely create a lot more looks. And these are some of the metallic shades that I absolutely love, especially for this fall season. Look at that. It looks so beautiful and gorgeous. You can actually make a lot of use from this palette. And I think, it's definitely worth every penny. Okay, guys, so we are almost at the end of the video. I only have like three, like high-end, I would say luxury palettes. So next one we have is this Natasha Denona's bronze palette. As you all can see, this is just a fall in a palette. Every single shade in here is perfect for fall season. Also, the metallics in here are super pigmented and there's so many beautiful like golds and bronze in here. So yeah, absolutely stunning. I really love it. These are all the shades from the palette. As you all can see, there's a mixture of like, some really nice bronzy shades, golds, and also this chocolate color. So I'm really excited to create more looks using this palette because this is my, like the newest one in my collection. And as you all know, I'm obsessed of fall and fall makeup looks especially. And I think this is such a perfect palette. Okay guys, so the next one I have again from Natasha Denona is the Bieber eyeshadow palette. I've already told you my love towards this palette. It is just the most beautiful neutral toned eyeshadow palette I've ever seen. Yeah, and that's how the palette looks like. This is another palette that you can use all year round, not just, for fall. Now, don't get me wrong, you can use any of the palettes any time of the season, but especially for fall seasons, I think these are very appropriate. You can create some stunning fall looks. That's what I'm trying to approach through this video. So this has a really good mixture of everything. These are all like neutral tones, and then you have some warm neutral shades. You also get some cool tone shades in here. And my most favorite shades in here are this one, the first one, which is called as Rustic. I actually don't have anything like this shade in any of the palettes that I showed before. And also this one right over here, it's called as Shine. Now it's like a light gold metallic. And also coming to some matte shades, I really like this reddish brown shade. It is super pigmented. And then we have this cool toned brown shade. Again, another beautiful color. So those are all the shades, you guys. Again, as you all can see, the pigmentation, the intensity of these eyeshadows are so good. Now, when it comes to, eyeshadow palettes, Natasha Denona makes one of the best eyeshadows ever because her eyeshadows are so smooth and they're super easy to blend. They're very pigmented. They're one of the most long lasting eyeshadow palettes that I've used. This palette is just going to be on my table right over here. Whenever I want it, I'm just gonna like, pick it up and use this palette. Every single time, any of the looks I have to go for, this one just comes on top of my head. So yeah, that's how much I love this palette. And again, I want to create like, 5 looks, one palette kind of a videos because if you're thinking of purchasing this palette or probably if you have it, I think you can make more use of this palette. So let me know if that would be useful. Okay. And the last eyeshadow palette I have is from Mcgrath Labs. It's their Mothership 5 Bronze Seduction eyeshadow palette. And this is how the outer packaging looks like. Again, this is how the shades look like. Again, you get a bunch of like this brown shades, a plum shade, and also these different shimmers in here. You get this golden shimmer, you get this fiery red sort of a shimmer, and you also get some green shimmers. I think again this is another beautiful fall toned eyeshadow palette. So when I first got this Mothership palette, and I thought, one is all I need. I just want to see how the quality and everything it is because it's so expensive. Again, this is like what, 10,000 rupees MRP. Actually, I am a makeup enthusiast and I was just thinking, let me just see what the hype is all about. But this palette, gave me like a whole new obsession for these Mothership palettes. And after using this palette, I just want to buy every other Mothership palette that is there. That's how much I loved it because of the formulation, the way it makes you feel. I think even compared to Natasha Denona, this just feels so luxurious. So if you're thinking of buying, like the very first Mothership palette, I think this should be it. It's a very good starter palette because everybody only has really good things to say about this palette too. And I think the shades in here, look really pretty on us Indian brown skin tones really well. And you can again use it on special events, weddings, all of that, like parties or anything like that. It looks really pretty. And so this is how the shades look like. As you all can see, these metallics are so intense and so are the mattes. Speciality of these matte shades is that you can just use very light handed to give that wash of color, or you can actually build them up to make them more intense. And I really love this dark plum tone shade in here. It's just such a pretty shade and also like intensifies your entire eye look so well. Also guys, this looks green, but actually in person it has this pink and gold shift to it. So pretty and so unique. And this is another palette which I will be using a lot during this fall season. And with that, we complete today's video. I know it was a little longer, but I just wanted to like share with you all of my favorite fall eyeshadow palettes. And do let me know in the comment section which is your favorite eyeshadow palette. And guys, I'm gonna catch you all next time with another interesting one. And if you like this video and found it to be helpful, then please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you all next time. Bye guys.